Welcome back. Vesel Jahiri was given a life sentence at the Central Criminal Court this week for the murder of Anna Finnegan, his partner of almost 10 years and mother of his 2 children.
It took Anna's family 5.5 years to get justice, but this week they did just that as they saw a man they now know has terrorised their sister and daughter for almost a decade put behind bars. Anna's brave sister, extremely brave sister, Lisa Finnegan, joins us now as she talks up for the victims of domestic abuse and raising awareness for those victims. Good morning to you.
Thanks for coming in to us, Lisa.
Thank you. It's been a really tough week, a very important one. We're so sorry for your loss. For any viewers who are joining us this morning, Lisa, and don't know of the story, you might take us back to when your sister met her ex-partner.
Yeah. Anna met him when she was about 15, and it was just like teenagers hanging around in the local village, and this guy was working in a local eatery, just a takeaway kind of place. And we really just only heard about him for the first couple of years, really. His name would get dropped into the sentence. We were being made aware of his existence, and slowly, but from the get-go now, really at the start, more so than anything, we really tried to intervene. Then my dad passed away, and I was still only 15. We felt like maybe we were pushing her, because a 15-year-old girl losing her dad, I couldn't get myself off the ground of grief, and I could only imagine. I kept thinking, what if I was only 15? Like, it would have just tore me apart, shredded me up, and I feel like he was clever in a way that he used that situation to let her lean on him and make her feel indebted to him for just being there for her at that time.
And what sort of an individual was he in the family, through the family's eyes? What did you think of him from the get-go?
Well, 2 years, I'd say, went by before we really got to know him at all, before we kind of opened our home up to him. My mother did, really, at that stage, for Anna's sake. She was coming into adulthood, and she wanted to try and treat her, a bit more grown up. And we really did have no impression of him the first couple of times. He was quiet, very, very quiet. Very awkward. It just felt awkward, like, could have been something to do with the cultural breakdown. Maybe it was back in the, the very early 2000s.
Yes.
2000s. So it did take a few weeks for us to be able to say, "Oh, hiya, Vesel, how are you? How are things?" But conversation was never really reciprocated.
Okay.
And eventually he would just sit in the sitting room on his own, really, for the next few years. He'd eat his dinner and then he'd be gone.
Okay.
He wouldn't say
But
goodbye.
they were together for 10 years. They had 2 children together.
They did, yeah.
And little did you or your family, and this is the nub of this whole interview this morning, really, despite being so close, you didn't know the terror that Anna was going through.
We hadn't got a clue.
On such a regular basis. And we're talking mental abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse. Abuse on every level, really.
It still amazes me. Honestly, I look back now and I see so many signs. And what I'd like to say to any families out there, if they feel any sort of doubts about somebody, or they have any inkling, I always think you should go with your gut. I didn't back then, really, for one particular time, but I wish I had have.
And what sort of things, in retrospect, are you able to see now that you mightn't have seen at the time, or
well,
actually
Anna would
acted
put it down to a cultural difference, but just the way he would address her and beckon her, it would just be Anna bread, Anna milk, and he would be in a different room. He wouldn't even come out to her and say it. He would just holler it from wherever he was sitting. And this did used to bother us a little bit, but Anna just sort of explained it away so much that we just kind of became immune to it.
Now, talk to me about the letter that you found in Anna's bag.
We didn't actually know about that letter until it was read out in court.
Evidence? Oh,
yeah,
really?
We literally just found out, like, that week or that day that letter even existed, and it was pretty horrifying.
Just for viewers at home, it's worth warning. The rest of this interview is particularly difficult for little ears, maybe, if they're in the room now. Just maybe be warned that it's difficult content for anybody to talk about and to listen. And that's why you're so brave to be with us this morning. But for anyone who isn't familiar with the case, Anna spoke out
She did, yeah.
She told you the situation she was in, and the reason she hadn't said anything for so long was because he had threatened her.
She said the threats were kind of lower than the fear. You know, the fear of what would happen if we got involved, the fear of what he would do to us if we got involved, and then on top of that, the shame that she said that she knew was going to come, like in facing her family, and us finding out that this wasn't just a
And when did you
thing.
find out?
We found out on the 7th of April 2012. Really, that was the big day where we were all kind of made aware of Anna's situation. And even on that day, initially, I thought that was the first time that this had happened. It was only really
it was an ongoing litany
hours,
of abuse.
yeah, days and weeks.
So after she did speak out, she sought help. She went to the Bray Women's Refuge.
She did.
There was a safety plan put in place.
Everything the way she was supposed to do it, which is what I highly recommend to anyone out there. You follow all the official procedures. You get your everything on paper, and this is the way then the Gardaí can help you.
And what was it that Anna told you when she did eventually reveal?
Well, that morning she told me that he had punched her in the side of the head. At that stage, we weren't aware, but his paranoia had heightened when it came to us, even though we had no idea. Maybe he had found messages or something in Anna's phone indicating that she was going to, you know, speak out. Or we had a conversation, and Anna and I never got to finish this conversation. And I was getting around to these things.
Yes.
But in my heart, I feel that that morning in particular, he got some indication of something and panicked and tried to stop Anna from coming down that day because she would be surrounded by her family.
Your brother was staying with Anna at the time that...
On the 7th of April, no, he lived in his own home in Castleknock, and he actually ran to Anna's house that day when he'd gotten the phone call because he was fearful that the Gardaí wouldn't make it on time. But that day just kind of fizzled out, really. Carol got there, we got Anna back up to our house, and we kept her there then for a couple of days just so she could get her thoughts together.
But on the day where Anna died, she was in that part of that safety plan, I suppose, with your brother at the house when this man tore down the door, broke the door down.
And he was very aware of the safety plan, you know, and in court he was saying that they'd arranged to meet, and never. Anna was absolutely petrified over her life of him at that stage. There's no way they arranged to meet. And so basically when that happened, it was just, it's explained to me to be the quickest thing, you know, but the amount of damage that was caused in such a quick time. Literally, the banging was on the door came down, he was in the kitchen. And all there was time to do was run. Really, you know.
Okay, so your brother was stabbed by him in that incident.
In the head and the chest.
And Anna
was able to run while Carol sort of, you know, kind of delayed him a bit. And then Carol collapsed, and when he regained consciousness, he ran outside, and it just seemed like all mayhem had broken out.
Absolutely.
And basically what this man did, he stabbed her once in the chest, then dumped her in a hospital A&E. Outside the door of the A&E.
Literally is how it looked to us, you know, on the CCTV footage. It just looked like he wasn't being careful with the person who had looked after him for 10 years. You know?
Now tell us about Anna. We talked about her as a victim, but I mean the Anna that you knew and loved. You know, what sort of a girl was she?
She was so funny. She was such a funny girl. I mean, it's one thing that has never been mentioned, but like Anna and I and Carl and Miles, we could laugh for hours, you know, the funny things that we would talk about. And Anna would tease me a lot because I was older than her, like, you know, and we were coming up to my 40th when all this happened, you know, and I although I wasn't looking forward to 40, Anna was easing me into it gently, you know, and she was a great little sister to have.
And how are her children now?
They're amazing. They're amazing children, considering how their lives have started.
Are they 7 and 5 now, is it?
They're 7 and 5 now, and thankfully they were only babies, really, when this happened. And you know, they're being looked after in the most amazing way. Brilliant. Billy's health with cystic fibrosis is on top, and you know, these people are the most amazing people on this planet, and I'm so thankful.
So the children are looked after, because I'm sure viewers at home are saying, tell us the children are being looked after, and they're being looked after with love and with care, which is so important. Lisa, you're here this morning. Your sister asked for help. Okay, she kept it, under wraps for a long time, but she spoke out, which was hugely brave of her.
Yeah.
She went to the Bray Women's Refuge, which means she put her hand up. She did say, "I need that help." The safety plan was in place, and yet she's not here with us today.
I understand.
So, what needs to be done?
I do understand what you're saying. In this particular instant, I really just believe that there are not many people like Vesel Jahiri in this world. Although there are people capable of terrible cruelty and psychological cruelty as well as physical cruelty. My advice to these girls is come out, speak out, and then keep your family and friends very close to you while you organise your life, while you get your life back and organise your social welfare papers, go to the Gardaí, get your bar in orders, and keep your family and friends close to you.
But go to the people you can trust.
Definitely, oh God, yeah, definitely go to the people you can trust, And people think there is no one, but there is.
There is.
They sit down and think there really is. Yeah. Even if they have no family and it's just somebody they talk to on a weekly basis, there's everyone in this world.
Lisa, we are so sorry for your loss, and really thank you for your bravery coming in and talk today, because hopefully what you've said here now will help somebody who's in this situation to break the cycle of violence and get this. Thanks again, Lisa.
Thank you.
So much.
If one person watching this morning picks up the phone or has a conversation, it was worth you coming in this morning.
It would make my whole year, definitely would. Thank you.
Thank you. Very brave lady.